Hello everyone, my name is Mike, and today we are discussing what happened to Clinch and why is he what he is today. It all happens in the 1980s. Clinch, formerly known as Duke Clinchfield, that was his name back in the early days. He was, well, not in a good situation to begin with. Duke was cast into a human experiment prison at a decent age. He was experimented upon, tortured, and not treated well. He was in a severe bad condition, and at one day, 1986, Duke managed to break out of his containment cell, running down aft of the prison. Duke crossed the main hall into the torture block, and at the very end was an abandoned storage compartment of the building. There sat many old remnants of old potions and fluids and whatever the hell there was. There was another door in that room. That door led to another sort of storage area where there sat an old and very vintage era battle armor. It was originally a Prussian design, though it was never really that good. It had a severe reputation of killing the people who wear it, because apparently, due to the fact that the armor was that heavy and the metal and some metallic plates were too much in weight, they had the chance to either crush the light plates or harm or potentially even kill the person who wears the armor. So after version 1 was ever made, they made version 2. They introduced a safety system, which apparently, as a whole, it was designed to hold the heavy plates back, protecting the wearer and the light plates. Though there was a flaw, it was poorly designed, and it didn't have a good reputation. It didn't take long before the producers stopped making the V2 design. Though one of these V2 armors still remain in the world, one of which being in that storage compartment where Duke Clinchfield went. When Duke broke out, he was apparently chased by elite soldiers. So, as a way to protect himself, Duke tried wearing the armor, but it didn't all go smoothly. The armor sat in that room for decades, and over the years, the armor wasn't well maintained, and thus it began to rust and rot. And same counts with the safety system. So when Duke wore the armor, all hell broke loose for Duke. An incident which would change his life forever. Due to the rusty circumstances of the armor, one of these steel rods, which were acted as one of the very same support systems, or support rods, which held the plates back, they were that rusty that when he wore the armor, it broke off, hitting a sort of switch which manually caused the armor from being into manual mode, the mode where you could easily walk around without dying, as many claimed. It went into maintenance mode, so all of those bars and rods were shoved inwards, impaling Duke and brutally injuring him, giving him fatal wounds, puncturing organs and breaking bones. Duke managed to survive, but not for very long. He died within an hour. That hour was the most painful hour of Duke's life. In 2003, the man named Jack Thayer, or as others call him, Dave Thayer, stumbled across the facility, which was long abandoned at the time. He stumbled across the room, and the entire area was brutal. There was remains of bloodstains all over the walls and floor, and the armor itself was entirely covered with blood, along with his strong stench of rotting flesh and broken and rust. They transported the armor to another facility, where presumed that the same owner who owned that facility, the abandoned facility Duke was experimented upon, that he would be experimented upon again. So basically, during this time he sat abandoned for so many decades, or well, not really many decades, actually a couple decades, 2 to 3 or something. He basically began to rot more, and thus his armor began looking darker and more creepy. And in the facility, it was not just abandoned, but there were also specific entities roaming in it, like a black figure which looks similar to this armored beast. Many call this entity Deathfield, a similar name to Clinchfield, Duke's after name. It's not really a person, nor an animal, nor nothing. It's just an entity, which bears the similar shape of what he looks like. So on March 2011, Clinch was experimented upon when there was a sudden event which changed the course of that facility the same way it did when after Duke died. It went on full of panic mode, and there was an error. Clinch somehow woke up from the dead, attacked the professor which was there, experimenting on the samples of bone and flesh inside of him. He grabbed him, killed him, and then wandered out the facility, setting free all the other subjects which were human. They went ahead and did a rampage in the facility. Thus, in the end, there was many corpses and many, well, gunshots everywhere. There was a full-out war in that second facility. But Clinch made it out. He was constantly hunted, and well, yeah. At some point in 2013 to be exact, he found a couple items and patched himself up. Because, well, yeah, of course, the armor was rotting and rusting. You needed to patch yourself up so that you won't die that easily. So he found a sword and presumably a few chains, but those chains were soon came to his disadvantage when he was at some point attacked, and his chains were wrapped around his neck, strangling Clinch. But due to the fact he's undead and like a zombie, he wasn't very much affected by that all that much. So in the end, he made it, he survived, and continued out scavenging for spare parts to patch himself up, as he relies on many things to survive.